I'm so excited to have James Mc Farlane with me today. James is also known as Buck, and he's a time graduate. He is also the creator of tactile and sensory tours and adventures in Australia, which means he specializes in organizing tours for people who are vision impaired. That comes with a very different mindset and different requirements. And for me, that means every time I speak to Buck, I do learn something new about travel and how to organize travel from a different perspective. So excited to have you on the show, Buck. Welcome.
Thank you.
Buck, I'm so tensed. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, because I remember I met you a very long time ago at one of the networking functions.
That's right.
When I was actually having my first hosting gig, and I was probably so nervous that I probably sweated and was not really talking to you because I was focusing on something different. But the more exciting it is to learn lots of things about you and time today. Are you ready to go?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Buck, let's start with something very simple. How did you actually hear about time originally? And when did you start the program? And, why did you feel you needed a mentor back in the time? Why were you interested in the time community? And what did you expect of the community before you actually met the people?
So my background in tourism has always been in operations and delivering tours. So whether that's for, G Adventures, Overseas Adventure Travel, Oz Experience, Adventure Tours Australia. So in the tourism industry, I had a big grasp of, people in the operational aspect, whether it's, in hotels or attractions and just moving around the country, meeting lots and lots of people. So I really felt I was pretty well connected and didn't really seek out any mentoring or expanding my network beyond what I'd already created over the last 10 to 15 years. It wasn't until I started a small business focusing on sightseeing tours for blind and low vision travellers. I commenced a small business called Cocky Guides, and I applied for a startup award in the New South Wales Tourism Awards back in 2019. And during the business audit, I was lucky enough to meet Robin Willis-Inglis, who was doing the judging from an audit perspective, coming to visit the business. And she mentioned time and invited me along to the networking event that you hosted. So that's how I got involved with time. And what I realized that there was a whole network of people, in sales and distribution, a whole bunch of areas, airlines that I'd never met before until time. So I went along and listened to graduates and thought, as a small business, definitely something I want to look more into. And as COVID hit, perfect time to join the program and see how I go with a mentor.
So did you have any specific expectation when you decided to join the program?
Look, for me, being a small business, I fund it myself. So, I was really not sure what I would get out of it. I'd had a background in product and marketing in financial services for 10 years prior to entering the tourism market. So, there's a lot of stuff as a small business owner I was, thought I was quite capable at achieving. It was sort of 50-50 whether I would do the program, but thought, well, with not much touring going on, it's a perfect opportunity to invest in myself and the business. And look, my attitude towards things, if you get one thing out of something, that's amazing. It just builds on your knowledge and all that sort of stuff. But, I had a great mentor in Angela Middleton and had a fantastic experience. Early on, I guess you could tell I was a small business, mind going 100 miles an hour and making sure I got, every bit of help and support I could get at our 2-hour meetings every fortnight. And, we would achieve so much in that 2 hours. And, towards the end of the program, you end up with someone that knows your business intimately, someone that knows you very well and probably sees how your cogs work in your mind. And, you end up with a friend who you always have a chat to about things as well.
Lovely. And but can you maybe share a couple of lessons you got out of the program specifically, or potentially any changes you have implemented to how you run your business or set up your business because of the program?
So coming from an operational background in tourism, just how you deal with distribution and engaging new channels to introduce new business was quite an eye-opener for me. Even though I've got a background in product and marketing, just learning the different phases in the traveler's purchasing decision, implementing, different, working with that process to develop a marketing plan for the year that can just roll around and look new and inventive all the time. So, yeah, we worked on a lot of processes that can just roll around each year as we introduce our schedule of tours. So the focus I had was creating the schedule and then just communicating by saying, hey, we're doing this on this date. But now, every 3 months we'll roll over, focusing on a new region of Australia, and then we'll narrow it down to the destination. So we're communicating, in that dreaming stage and going all the way through to, sharing social posts during their tours. So, we've got an awesome process to do that.
That sounds like
lots of other things.
Yeah, it sounds like a massive improvement. I know it sounds small in a couple of sentences, but I would assume the impact for your business must have been tremendously positive.
Yeah, look, we're still waiting on that. The one thing we really can't afford to do is load up people on tours and unwind them, which we've had to do plenty of times during COVID. So we haven't had the full opportunity to put it into practice. But, we did it for the first 2 months in 2020 and, we filled up the trips and had wait lists, which were perfect because when Melbourne locked down, we could replace the people traveling from Melbourne with people on the wait list. So we've got the tools there ready to go. We've got strategies for having agent introduced business as well. We're not going to service a massive network of agents, but if we choose agents that focus on accessible travel in each of the capital cities, that's sort of the starting point for us as well. So pretty much throughout the program, a lot of it was the sales, distribution and marketing aspect of the business that we concentrated on a lot.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of times you organize tours for visually impaired people or blind people. So you kind of operate in a very specific niche. Can you maybe share with us why you have chosen that niche of the business?
So I've traveled all around Australia for many years. I've driven coaches in Europe, and not once had I met a blind traveler. I'd met travelers that were deaf, might have had autism, might have been in wheelchairs. So I've met people with all sorts of needs during their travels, but never a blind person. I'm sure there was plenty of low vision people, but no one came up to me and said, Buck, look, I'm a little bit low vision. Can you maybe adapt this part of the trip for me? No one's ever came and said that. Eiffel Tower, I've never seen a traveller or person there with a white cane. I've never seen a guide dog hopping on a Great Barrier Reef boat. All the Indigenous experiences we have around the country, I've never seen a blind person there. So, just had this idea, thought it's a market that, I could add a lot of value in a group environment. And, I guess the starting point is looking at how someone that's blind or low vision will travel today. And, before we existed, people had to rely on family, friends, or pay for a support worker, which is quite expensive. And, you didn't have the choice of just ringing up one of the big touring brands and saying, I want to go do a tour. I'm sure people have done that. And I'm sure some of the big tour operators and small operators have done amazing jobs for those individuals. But, that's someone reaching out. What I wanted to do is create a product that, you could just go online, see the destination you like as a blind or low vision traveller and not have to rely on a family member or a friend or a support worker. You can just make that choice and choose to go. And being, really, really powerful at the destinations we visit. Timo, you even introduced me to, people at your hotel chain, and we've had managers be blindfolded and use a white cane to enter the hotel just to put people in that headspace. So it's amazing that we've had that opportunity to network with the broader community. But, us getting out and traveling for the past 3 years with blind and low vision travelers, you can't miss us. So, we do make an impact where we're going, and the partners we work with do make subtle changes from time to time and make it more accessible, not just to blind or low vision, but many more of their guests who might find it hard to read the product information or guest information because it's too small, or it might look good in design but doesn't contrast, or you're chucking a steak on top of chips and people have to try to cut it instead of serving the chips on the side. So there's plenty of improvements that our travel partners have made to help our travellers, and some of those things might continue on in the business to help many more guests as well.
Mm-hmm. I think the exercise you just mentioned, where we had a hotel manager being blindfolded and just trying to access the hotel, it's been such an eye-opener, although I just saw the video after. But since then, I actually start thinking wherever I go much more about, okay, how would it actually be for someone who's low vision or even blind? So you definitely also raise a bit of awareness throughout the community to also include these travelers in the future more and more. So apart from your business, you're also doing good for society. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. And
please.
I was going to say, if you're watching this and you're in hospitality or you're in accommodation or attractions, staff shortages are massive at the moment. So why not engage or offer employment to someone with a disability? Because then, these conversations are much easier with someone with lived experience. So, we're two sighted people talking about blindfolding someone with a white cane, but, it's more real and more effective if, why is there someone, with disability, not working in these places? So definitely underrepresented within the community, the travel community. And I think, you'll get some very loyal and hardworking people if you were to, offer opportunities for people with disability in aspects of what we do in tourism.
That's probably a topic for a complete new episode of this podcast, just disabled people within hospitality. I'll make a note and I'll come back to you about that for a little panel.
And if we don't start these conversations, it's something that may not be talked about in the future. So let's start the conversation every opportunity we've got.
Yeah. But while we talk about the future, what's in it for you for 2022?
So 2022 is very complicated because right now, and if you're in hospitality or accommodation, we're in a quasi-lockdown. Our border's going to snap shut. Do we need to rat test our travellers? Do they have to have boosters? There's all these unknown questions. So right now we're taking a breath and we're just starting to consider how we'll deliver trips. So for my business, we'll be doing a smaller number of trips with larger groups. And so that way, when we do have the windows of travelling, we can just get in there, focus on that destination and come back out. And then there's less... if we do have to unwind something, it's easier to unwind that one departure with more people than multiple smaller departures. So we're focusing on certain regions at times of the years with larger groups. And I guess the challenge for us is getting new blind and low vision travellers to come out and experience Australia. The past 2 years, I've had 40 very loyal travellers continue to travel, which has kept Cocky Guides actively busy. But, our challenge now to grow further is to introduce more blind and low vision travellers. So that's a challenge for us. And we've got the strategies from our mentor program that I worked through with Angela that, we're excited to put into practice.
Lovely. And last but not least, James, obviously after you've done your experience, if you have to give career advice to someone who either just started in the industry or is a bit more into it, what's the one thing you recommend? What's your career goal you can share?
Look, take that invitation. So if you're invited to do something, meet new people, take that invitation because you don't know who you'll meet, and listen to what people have to say. And if you see something there that you want or you're chasing, ask, because no one's necessarily going to deliver it to you on a platter. So if you're curious or you want to do something specific, talk to your managers, talk to the competitors, whatever it is you want to do. If you don't speak up, no one knows how they can help you, I guess.
I love that. Thank you.
No worries.
Awesome. Buck, thank you so much for your time already at the end of the interview. I know, as we heard in the last episode, that we will have one-on-one or in-person networking coming up again. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I won't let you off the hook. You have to attend and have to have a drink with me. And I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I've still got to have my graduation ceremony, which at this stage is scheduled for February. So fingers crossed we all can get together at that time.
Sounds great. Happy celebration. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.